It's been called profound by some, profane by others, yet MJC research librarians continue to teach it. Are they incredibly savvy or merely subversive? KMJC takes to the streets of Modesto to get to the bottom of the infamous CRAAP test, a method of evaluating information sources that's being touted across East and West campuses. Rumor has it that MJC students are known to hang out at this local coffee shop. We're hoping to catch them in their natural studious state and see what we can learn from them. Let's step inside and figure this crap out. Excuse me, sir, what are your thoughts on currency as it applies to research sources?
Currency? You mean data publication? Well, currency is pretty important in terms of research. All right, some professors will even give you strict guidelines such as, your sources may be no more than 5 years old. But I guess it really depends on the topic you're researching and the subject you're addressing. All right, for example, if your topic is, say, I don't know, how many kids under the age of, say, 3 own cell phones, then maybe you'd want your information to be more current. But let's say that you wanted to do something on, I don't know, fashion trends of the 1980s, then it would be totally acceptable for you to actually get your information from the 1980s. You have to pay attention to currency. It absolutely matters, but how much it matters depends on the research topic. If you're having trouble with your currency source, then you should talk to a research librarian.
Excuse me, but I was hoping you could take a moment to talk about relevancy as it applies to research sources.
Well, relevancy is easy. Does the source contribute to your research in a meaningful way? If I'm researching effective teaching strategies for children with ADHD, an article about the causes of ADHD doesn't really help me much. For the purposes of my paper, it doesn't really matter what the causes are if I'm interested in helping these kids in the classroom.
Hi guys, we were talking with MJC students about research sources, and I was wondering if either of you would care to address the concepts of authority or accuracy.
Authority is everything when dealing with academic research. Credibility is crucial when you're engaged in scholarly communication, and credibility means authority.
And accuracy.
Evaluating a source's authority means looking at the author of the source, or in some cases, the publisher of the source. Knowledge on its own isn't enough for academic research. Academic research demands expert knowledge. For authors, it's all about academic credentials. So do they have advanced degrees in the subject about which they're writing? Do they have professional experience in the field? If so, how much or what type? Are they recognized experts? If you're evaluating a publisher, who are they? What's their purpose? How long have they been around? How do they get their funding? Who are the people involved? Leadership, staff, board of directors, have you heard of them? Are they respected? Do they have an established reputation for providing factual information?
Other things to look for when evaluating a source's accuracy. Does the author cite his or her sources? Is there a bibliography, footnotes, endnotes?
If you don't mind a brief interruption, I was hoping you could take a minute to share your thoughts on the topic of point of view and research sources.
Point of view? People want you to believe what they believe. I think that's human nature. So they share information with you that's biased to their opinion. And then if any of that information might make you opposed to their ideas, they conveniently leave that out. Seriously, once you get outside the world of peer-reviewed journals, objectivity is pretty hard to come by. You're not going to sidestep point of view. In fact, oftentimes you don't want to avoid a certain point of view. If I'm writing a paper on an argumentative topic like gun control, I want to make sure I identify my pro arguments as well as the con arguments.
So then how do you deal with information that has a strong point of view?
Well, I'd do a few things. First, I'd make sure to contextualize the bias in my work. So like if I'm writing that paper on gun control and I visit the NRA webpage to find out their point of view on the situation, I'm going to be upfront about that in my paper. Like, according to the NRA, an organization known to be opposed to gun control in every form, gun control fails for these reasons. 2, I'm going to check every fact they give me because I know they're trying to win me over. So like, if they quote a study, I'm going to find that study myself. If they cite statistics, I'm going to find the source of those statistics and make sure I'm getting the full picture. So Yeah, that's how I'd handle bias.
Thank you for your time. Well, there you have it. Call it profound, call it profane. It's clear the CRAAP test is proof. Those MJC research librarians are on to something good.